Hello and welcome to your last notes video via video. I will be back next week and I'm excited to see you guys. So this is 7.2. This is dot plots and histograms. This note sheet is a full page, not a half page. I think it's the one note sheet of the entire school year that's a full page just because the graphs take up a lot of space. So fold it hamburger style. So this little glue stick guy should be on the back. That's what gets glued down. And then this should be the front. And you'll open it up. And these two problems should be inside because it's just two examples. Okay, so we are looking at dot plots and histograms today. Dot plots and histograms are two types of graphs that we can use to show sets of data. We use dot plots with discrete values. So discrete values are individual specific numbers that have limited options. So some examples of things that you would use a dot plot for, or some examples of things that are discrete values, are most of the time if you are finding the number of anything. So if I ask you the number of pairs of shoes you have, the number of siblings you have, the thing with discrete values is they are almost always countable. You can count them and figure out how many you have. So we use dot plots with discrete values. What we do is we draw a number line across the bottom of our graph that's appropriate for the data. We look at the minimum and the maximum, make sure we include both of those values and everything in between. We're going to label that number line, and then we're going to draw one little X above the corresponding number for each data value. You can also draw a little dot, but I usually draw X's. It's just easier to draw an X than have to color in a dot. So with that being said, we are going to go ahead and flip and look at our first and only dot plot. So that is going to be up here. We have 20 students recorded the number of hours they spent watching TikToks over the weekend, label the number line appropriately, and construct a dot plot for this data. So looking through my data, the lowest number I see is 4. Highest number I see is 11. So I need to get from 4 to 11. So I'm going to start here-ish, go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. I also have a blank underneath here, and that is for us to label. So that's hours watching TikToks. So we know that that's 9 hours watching TikToks, not 9 cats or 9 siblings or something like that. Then we go through, we're going to put a little X above for each piece of data. So I like to do it kind of in an organized way and just cross off as I go. So I have 1, 4. I'm going to put a little X here. And then looking through, I don't see any 5s. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 6s. 1, 2, 3, 4 6s. I've got 1, 2, 3 7s. 1, 2, 3. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 8s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 8s. I've got 1, 2, 3 9s. 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 10s. And an 11. Okay. Something that I want to point out right now, now that we've made our graph, is make sure that you, whether you're using dots or X's or little stars or little circles, whatever you use for your dot plot, make sure that they are all about the same size. So I'm going to show you guys, if I draw a line right here, see how when I have 3 X's, it's all at about the same level? You don't want to draw little tiny X's on some of them and big X's on others, because this makes it look like those 4 X's are worth less than those 3 big X's. So you don't want to do that. Make sure your X's are all about the same size. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just need to make sure that it's easy enough for us to read. Okay, then it says, by looking at the dot plot, what is the approximate center of the data, and what does that mean? So looking at the dot plot, we want to kind of count from the outsides like we did with medians. So I've got 1 point here, which cancels off with 1 point here. And again, I would use my fingers to point at these, but I can't do that right now. I've got 4 points here that cross off with these 4-ish points here. These 2 and 2 cross off. I've got 1 that can cross off with 1 here. And that leaves me right here in the middle. So that tells me that the approximate center of my data is 8 hours And that means that my median is 8 hours, or that the middle student watches about 8 hours of TikToks. All right. Flipping back to the front, let's talk about when we make histograms, and then go ahead and make our histogram. Okay, so a histogram we use with continuous values. So we use continuous values or any values in a range between 2 points. So that also is going to include any of our decimals / fractions. So examples are a little harder with continuous values. Actually, they're not. Things like height, weight, distance. Continuous values are almost always going to be measurable. And I say that word weird, I know. Sorry. So if you can measure, is there an E in the word measurable? Now that I'm looking at it, I don't think there is. I'm going to Google it on my phone. We're going to learn something new today. Measurable. Nope, there's not. Now we know. So, continuous data are points that are measurable usually. So we use histograms with data that's measurable, and then we also sometimes use it for data that's countable, but that has a really large range. So let's say I wanted to put down the points you earned on a test, and the test was worth 100 points. I could count from 0 to 100, but having a dot plot with 100 little points on it, or 100 values across the number line, that would be way too much. So we might want to do some ranges for that. So with a histogram, we are going to pick appropriate intervals. So instead of saying 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like we did in our last problem, we're going to say things like 0 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15. Put things in categories. Once we get those, we are going to label our horizontal or x-axis using those intervals, and then we will shade a box to represent each data value. Okay, one more thing, because I'm not going to flip back to the side, or at least I won't remember, is we've got one definition down here, something you're going to need for your homework. An outlier is a value in a set of data that's very different from other values. So let's use test scores. Everyone got between a 60 and an 85 on a test, and then one kid got 102. That 102 would be the outlier. Or let's say everyone got between 80 and 102. One kid got a 54. That 54 would be the outlier. So a piece of data that's either way higher or way lower than the rest of the values. All right, to our example, and then we will be done. So the times and seconds it took to download 30 apps are given below. Choose the appropriate intervals and construct a histogram for this data. So looking through my data, the lowest number I see is 16. And the highest number I see is 64 maybe. So we've got 6 columns, so we can do 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. So we will go from 10 to 19 in this first column. We will go from 20 to 29 in the second one, 30 to 39 in the third one, so on and so forth. 40 to 49, 50 to 59, and 60 to 69. These are already labeled on your homework because it'll make it way easier for us to check for you guys if you're all using the same intervals. And notice that I went from 10 to 19, not 10 to 20, because I can't go from 10 to 20 and 20 to 30, because then which bar does 20 go in? So I can't overlap. Okay, and then we'll label. This is seconds to download apps. Okay, so then we can go through, and I'm going to find my data and cross it off as I go in case I miss a piece and have to go back. So I've got 17, 16, 19, and 17. Those are all going to go in this first chunk here, so I'm going to color in 4 bars. Okay, I've got in the 20s, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I believe. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So color in 10 bars here. And I'm crossing them off so that if I do miss one, I can know that I can never cross it off and I can go back and get it. 30s, I've got 39. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6, yep. And while I was doing those, I saw a 20 I missed. So I can cross off that 20 and add 1 more to my 20s. Okay, in my 40s, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's it. So 4 in the 40s. In my 50s, I've got 1, 2, 3 in my 50s. And 2 really slow ones. I've got 2 in the 60s. Awesome. I think I got them all crossed off. Right. And then the question is, what is the most common interval of time it takes to download 30 apps? So it's asking for the most common interval. We would just look for the highest bar. So that would be 20 to 29 seconds. Okay, that is a wrap on videos from maternity leave. You guys can get started on your activity and your assignment now.